This NBA season is absolutely wild. You'll just be watching, Mavericks Knicks one night, and you see Luka Doncic drop a 60-point triple-double. And you're like, yep, that is the best statistical game I will probably see in the next 5 years. And no, a week later, you see Donovan Mitchell drop 70 plus. Then you see Giannis Antetokounmpo drop 55, 10, and 7. I don't know what's going on with the basketballs or just scoring this season, but it's like you're seeing a historic performance every single night. So we have a lot to talk about since the last time I saw you guys on Tuesday. So we'll start off with some rumors that have happened around the league as of late. And currently, the Dallas Mavericks and Christian Wood have opened back up talks on a contract extension. Wood became extension eligible on December 24th and can sign for 4 years as much as $77 million with the Mavericks. Mark Stein reported that Dallas is fairly unlikely to offer Wood the full 4 years, and if they can't come to an agreement with Wood on extension, they will look to possibly move him by February 9th trade deadline. Wood has come a long way since his Detroit Pistons days, so I hope he gets paid. Next up is pretty funny, and the whole Cleveland Cavaliers team was tested for PEDs following Donovan Mitchell's 71-point performance. Players are typically subjected to 4 random PED tests a year, and 2 during the offseason. Donovan Mitchell had a funny tweet about it. It was kind of a coincidence, that they get tested right after Donovan Mitchell scores the second most points this century. Okay, this next one was wild. I didn't even know that this was being reported until I was looking for news for this video, and Ja Morant is currently getting sued for allegedly punching a 17-year-old during a pickup game back in Tennessee. It was at his Memphis home. The lawsuit was filed on September 9th. TMZ reported that there was a heated argument throughout the pickup game. Apparently the minor threw a basketball at Ja Morant's face, and then Morant allegedly knocked the teenager down after that happened. He punched him in the face and then continued punching him while he's on the ground. Now this is all alleged. Ja did admit that he did strike the teenager, but he's saying that this was in self-defense. This is currently all under investigation, and it's unclear how much he's getting sued for. This is just kind of wild. So another report that came out from Paige Maston from the Charlotte Observer, a name we haven't heard since the offseason really, and that's Miles Bridges. The Hornets refuted the report of contract discussions with Miles Bridges. That report came out from ESPN. Bridges pled to a no contest to a felony domestic violence charge back in November, so I don't think we'll be seeing Miles Bridges on the court this year. So the NBA announced their December awards, so we're going to be talking about Coach of the Month, Player of the Month, and Rookie of the Month. And for Coach of the Month in the Western Conference, that went to Willie Green, who had a 10-5 record with the Pelicans. He's done a great job for them this year. They've had their fair share of injuries, and we're going to see if he could step up with Zion being hurt on the shelf for a couple of weeks. And winning Coach of the Month in the Eastern Conference, Jacque Vaughn, he went 12-1 in the month of December. He's currently my Coach of the Year pick at the moment. Just that Brooklyn scenario was just an absolute mess that he went into. Steve Nash getting fired, Kyrie Irving's off the court stuff, Kevin Durant kind of saying stuff he probably shouldn't have about the team culture, and he requested a trade in the offseason. But Vaughn has done a phenomenal job turning this season around for the Brooklyn Nets. They're looking like they are a finals contender. They are the hottest team in the NBA at the moment. KD's playing some of the best basketball of his career. Same with Kyrie Irving. You haven't heard too much about Ben Simmons, which is good, and Kyrie Irving's off the court stuff as well. Nicholas Claxton has been great. They're probably going to be a team that's going to add at the deadline. You got to watch out for the Brooklyn Nets coming playoff time. Like I just mentioned, the NBA also announced their Rookie of the Month in the Western Conference. That went to Keegan Murray. He averaged just below 13 points, 3.5 rebounds, and almost a steal a night in the month of December. Shout out to the former Hawkeye. And over in the Eastern Conference, it's the Rookie of the Year frontrunner, Paolo Banchero. He averaged 19 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 4 assists in the month of December. And lastly, the NBA announced their Players of the Month, and this goes to who else but Luka Doncic in the West. He averaged 35 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. The Mavericks went 11-4 in the month of December. And oh yeah, he had that 60-point triple-double against the New York Knicks. One of the greatest performances that we will see in our lifetimes. I've said that before. I'll keep saying it. It's just insane. And of course, it happened against my Knicks. And then over in the Eastern Conference, we have Joel Embiid. The Philadelphia 76ers went 9-4. He averaged 35 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. It's crazy because Embiid is having maybe the best season of his career, but he might not even be a top 3 player in the Eastern Conference this season with Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Kevin Durant. It's crazy the talent we're seeing this year, and it's going to come into a debate when the All-Star starters are announced, at least in the front court in the Eastern Conference, because those 3 names plus Embiid I just mentioned are fighting for 3 starting spots in the front court for the East. someone's going to be the odd man out. Right now, it might be Embiid, which I don't know how you can leave him out. Now, unfortunately, we do have to talk about some injury news. Kelly Oubre will be out 4 to 6 weeks after getting surgery on his left hand. He was averaging a career-high 20 points for the Charlotte Hornets and is in the final year of his 2-year, $26 million contract that he signed back in the 2021 offseason. So I mentioned before when I was talking about Willie Green, Zion Williamson will be out at least 3 weeks with a right hamstring strain. We talked about it a little bit in Tuesday's video, but yeah, there's the full evaluation out. Minimum of 3 weeks for Zion, which hurts a lot for the Pelicans, who are one of the better teams in the Western Conference this year. And with Brandon Ingram not playing since November 25th, we're going to have to see some other New Orleans Pelicans step up. And that's going to have to be CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jonas Valanciunas, and others. Marvin Bagley, man, this has been the story of his career so far, at least it was in Sacramento. He's going to be out indefinitely with a hand injury. He's going to undergo further tests in the next couple of days to really get a time frame on when he can come back. He was averaging about 10 points and 6 rebounds for the Pistons this year. We mentioned in Tuesday's video that Nikola Jovic was being sent down to the G League at the Miami Heat. Well, he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks with a back injury. Duncan Robinson is out at least 4 weeks after getting surgery on his finger. He initially suffered the injury during a shoot-around during their November 18th game against the Wizards. A little bit of Warriors information here, as Jonathan Kuminga and James Wiseman are going to be reevaluated in a week. Kuminga was diagnosed with a right foot sprain, and Wiseman is out with a sprained left ankle. But some positive news for the Warriors. Steph Curry's hopeful to return next Friday against the Spurs. He's been out since December 14th with that shoulder injury. Obi Toppin was upgraded to doubtful for the Wednesday night game against the Spurs for the Knicks. He was out since December 7th due to a fractured fibula. He ended up becoming active for the game, but Tibbs didn't play him. I might have a whole rant on Tibbs at some point during one of these videos. He's playing Emmanuel quickly 46 minutes a night. It's crazy. So I mentioned in Tuesday's video that I wanted to talk about a trade deadline suggestion every Thursday until the deadline. And I asked you guys on the community tab to give me some trade ideas, and I'll pick one for the video. And honestly, I don't love any of the trades you guys suggested. I'm not even trying to be mean. I just couldn't pick one. So for this week, I'm going to pick my own. You guys can roast me in the comments. I didn't want any of you guys getting roasted. And please, for next week's installment of this, give me a good realistic trade. So this trade is going to involve the 7-22 Washington Wizards and the 25-12 Brooklyn Nets. The Nets are going to be sending Seth Curry, Cam Thomas, and a 2023 first-round pick that's either via Houston or Philly to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma does have a player option at the end of the year. He's going to opt out of it. There's already been reports that he's not going to be coming back to Washington. So for the Wizards side of things, they get a first-round pick and a young guard in exchange, basically, for somebody that is not going to be on the team next year. He's an expiring contract. It really hurts his value, especially at the deadline when the team they're trading him to is only going to be able to use him for a couple of months. Seth Curry is also in here to make the money work. He could be on the Wizards for the remainder of the year, or they could try flipping him and maybe making this into a 3-team deal. Either way, the Wizards, they're not making noise in the Eastern Conference this year. They should really get anything they can for Kuzma before he leaves for nothing in free agency. As for the Nets, you're really not giving up too much that's going to hurt you right now or in the future. This first-round pick, not going to be the best first-round pick in the world. Cam Thomas, it's looking like he's going downhill, at least in your system. Seth Curry, not the worst thing to give up when you're bringing in Kyle Kuzma, who could be an immediate, shooter for you. He could be that third scoring option after KD and Kyrie. I mean, I've been harping that the Nets should go out and get DeMar DeRozan. He might cost too much, so on the cheaper side of things, but a really good player, Kyle Kuzma, you could have a lineup of Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Kyle Kuzma, and Nick Claxton for the playoffs. That's a scary team in the East. So we have to talk about a game performance, though, that happened on Wednesday, and that's when Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 55 points against the Washington Wizards. He went 20 for 33 shooting, 0 for 3 from downtown. He hit 15 free throws out of his 16 attempts, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. He did it all. He was a team and game high plus 25 on the floor. He did it on both ends. This is one of the best games of the season, but it's probably not even top 2 after what Mitchell and Luka did as of late. And also, speaking of Giannis, he had a 30-point triple-double last night, 21 rebounds and 10 assists. In a crazy game, the Milwaukee Bucks blew a 16-point lead against the Toronto Raptors in Toronto in the fourth quarter. The Raptors were able to send that game into overtime, but they ended up coming up short. Grayson Allen hit the go-ahead three-pointer with 11 seconds left. Then Fred VanVleet missed a three-point shot, and the Bucks ended up winning a crazy game. So yeah, crazy back-to-back for the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee against the Wizards, then in Toronto against the Raptors. It's funny doing these videos on the East Coast because you never know what's going to happen past midnight in the NBA sphere. And last night had a crazy finish between the Detroit Pistons and the Golden State Warriors. I briefly have to mention what Klay Thompson did in the Warriors' previous game, scoring 54 points. Last night, he ended up scoring 30. He went 11 for 23 from the field. Is Klay Thompson back? He might be, but they ended up losing on a game-winning 3 by Saddiq Bey, 122-119. Saddiq Bey finished with 17 points. Killian Hayes finished with 13 assists. Jalen Duren finished with 18 points and 11 rebounds. He went perfect from the field, 8 for 8. He also leads all rookies in double-doubles. But yeah, this was also a crazy 3 because you thought this could be maybe a 5-second violation. See, Bey gets it. Doesn't even get a good look at the rim, and he stuns the Warriors crowd. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that update around the league. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to talk about down below. If you did enjoy the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.